My name is M.S. Yogesh, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Government First Grade College, Srirangpatna. In this session, we are going to discuss about Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That is introduction, historical background, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, conclusion and references. Because of the Second World War impact, the creation of United Nations and the international community ought to never again allow atrocity like those of that conflict to happen again. As I have already stated that Nazism and Fascism were the causes for the Second World War, and there were massacre as well as genocide of Jews in the Second World War. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is an international document adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. It establishes the rights and freedoms of all the members of the human race. The world leaders decided to complement the United Charter with a roadmap to guarantee the rights of every individual wherever in the world. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights has played a significant role in the history of human rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights combines of all kinds of rights for the greater development of human beings. In the next few slides, you can understand there are list of rights which is compiled in Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There are around 30 articles, and it also deals with different kinds of rights, that is social right, political right, economic right, as well as cultural right. Let us focus on the historical background of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was set up at the first session of the General Assembly in 1946. The United Nations was established in the year October 24, 1945. In the first session of the General Assembly, they took the basic foundation of laying the human rights concept around the world, where every human being are enjoying certain rights guaranteed by its state as well as the United Nations organization. Even there is another organ in the United Nations, that is Economic and Social Council. It is also meant to guide the United Nations Commission on Human Rights for the consideration in its preparation of an international Bill of Rights. It is an international Bill of Rights where every human being in the world will have certain rights which is guaranteed by its states as well as this international organization. The Commission, that is United Nations Commission for Human Rights, that it is in the first session early in the 1947 authorized its member to formulate what is termed a primarily draft international Bill of Human Rights. It is a member, there are 18 members in the Commission of Human Rights. They are selected on the geographical contribution, that is from each and every continent. The 18 members were selected from the General Assembly as well as Economic and Social Council. The Commission of Human Rights, which is enacted by the United Nations, it was chaired by the Eleanor Roosevelt. She is the wife of Franklin D. Roosevelt, who is the US President as well as the person who coined or termed the name of United Nations as an international organization after the League of Nations. And she was the chairperson for this commission, and there was a vice chairman, that is Peng Jan of China, René Cassin of France, who was the person to draft the first draft. He was the person to draft the declaration. Later you have John Humphrey of Canada, director of the United Nations Human Rights Division, who prepared the declaration blueprint. He was the person who prepared the blueprint, and as well as the René Cassin was is a jurist who prepared, and also he edited the final draft also. And he is also a co-draft with the Eleanor Roosevelt. She is also a person who could get this bill passed in United Nations. And we have we have other members also, that is Charles Malik from Lebanon, Charles Duke from UK, Williams from Australia, we have Santa Cruz of Chile, Alexander from USSR. This draft, that is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was started in the year of 1946, early of 1947, it was completed in December 10, 1948. As earlier I have mentioned that there were 18 members in this Commission of Human Rights, and the chief person was Eleanor Roosevelt, as well as she was also a person to draft this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And these two persons are eminent in this members in the commission. They are Rene Samuel. He was the person to make the first and the final draft of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as well as the blueprint was prepared by John Peters. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was accepted by the United Nations General Assembly as per the resolution of 217 subclass 3 during the session on December 10, 1948 at the Paris. Among the United Nations members at the time, 48 voted in favor, none against, 8 abstained and 2 did not vote. And on December 10th, it is considered as the World's Human Rights Day. The Guinness Book of Records describes the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as the most translated document in the world. It has also served as the foundation for the growing number of national laws, international laws and treaties, as well as regional, national and sub-national institutions protecting and promoting human rights. The 60th anniversary of Universal Declaration of Human Rights theme was Dignity and Justice for All of Us. On 10th December 2024, that is the 74th anniversary, the slogan is all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Mentioned that it is the most translated book in the world, where nearly around 200 languages it has been translated, and it is also been studied under the research. There are a lot of research work going on this declaration, and it has been a cornerstone as well as guiding principle for the new constitution to be drafted. And every year there will be a new theme under which the United Nations will enforce the human rights to come into existence. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It consists of 30 articles in which different kinds of rights are being enshrined. That is political right, social rights, civil right, we have economic right as well as the cultural right. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights consists of 30 articles detailing an individual's basic rights and fundamental freedoms. It is the universally applicable for all human beings of various race, religions and nationality. It directly inspired the development of International Bill of Human Rights, which was completed in 1966 and came into force in 1976. Even though the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is not legally binding, it incorporates into a subsequent international treaties in the legal code of various countries. That it is not forcing any country to follow or to enshrine these articles into its constitution or to be binding forcibly. It is voluntarily the countries are accepting this declaration, and they are also enforcing as an act or legislature in its parliament. At least one of the 9 binding treaties of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has been ratified by all 193 member states of United Nations, with the majority ratifying 4 or more. There are 13 articles in which nearly 4 articles are being enforced by these 193 countries. As India, we have this articles have been enshrined. These articles have been enshrined in the fundamental right of our constitution. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was drafted around 4 pillars. Those are dignity, liberty, equality and brotherhood. Each pillar represents an ideal considered essential to the enjoyment of an individual's life in their community. That every individual should be respected as well as treat that they are the brothers and sisters, and we have to enforce upon humanity rather than being a selfish motivated person. It is that globally in our Vedas it is called as Sarvojano Sukhino Bhavantu. In that concept, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has been drafting these 4 pillars. Article 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in the spirit of brotherhood. That we are brothers and sisters, we are different in our looks, we are different in our religion, in our language, as well as physically we are different. But see to that we are all human beings. To see that we are loving each other, we are respecting each other. And I have compared this statement as right to equality. Of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that right to equality, treating every person as equal, one among others. We are not giving any special treatment to the another person in the law or in the society or in the court of law. Every person will be treated equally. Article 2 explains the right to freedom from discrimination. What is discrimination? Discrimination, you are treating a person differently on his sex, caste, creed, language, religion, nationality, as well as his physical features. You cannot discriminate a person in a society based on these factors. Everyone has the right to life, liberty and security of a person. We don't have a right to die, we have a right to life. The life should be as a dignified life where the state should provide all the basic needs to a person where he can lead his life, and every person's life should be protected by the government. Article 4. It is an abolition of slavery. It was the most inhuman act which was conducted for 400 to 500 years, where every human being was not treated equally, where some are more equal and some were considered as a slave. And it was continued in this 20th century too. But Universal Declaration of Human Rights stated that there should not be a slavery which should be practiced in any state of this world. Article 5 states that no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman or degradation treatment or punishment. Even the police department should not torture a person who is an accused, or maybe he is a convict. He should not be tortured, or he should not given any kind of cruel treatment, which was done during the Nazism by Hitler on the Jews. Article 6. Everyone has the right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law. Every human being should be treated equally before the law, and every state government or any organization which is run by the government should treat a person in a human way. Article 7. Right to equality before the law. All are equal. That is considered as the concept of rule of law, where every person should bow as well as should follow the law. One who violates the law will met with a punishment which is inscribed in the constitution itself. This is a concept where we treat equals as equals, unequals as unequals. Law should also protect the needy person as well as should punish the person who has violated the law. Article 8. It tells about the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals. A person who has been inhumanly treated by the department, police department or state has not given any compensation when they are acquiring a land from a person. The person is entitled to get a remedy or a compensation from the state government. If a person has been displaced from his village or from his farm for a national project, the person is compensated. He has a right to get a remedy from the national tribunals or concerned departments. Article 9. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention or exile. That means that the police department cannot arrest a person simply, and they cannot detain a person for 3 to 4 days. It means that it is called as an illegal arrest or illegal detention. A person who has been arrested, he has a right to know for what reason he has been arrested. These are the rights a person when they are arrested. They can ask the arrest warrant, as well as if they are going for a searching their house, they can seek for search warrant too. Article 10. Everyone is entitled in a full equality to the fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal. in the determination of his rights and obligation and of any criminal charges against him. That means that a victim as well as the accused has the right to hear his plea against the court of law. That is called as double hearing as well as a fair hearing, where a two party, that is a victim as well as accused, will express their consent to the court of law. Article 11. Right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty. A person has to be called as an accused when he has been committed any kind of crime, or he may be a suspect. We should consider that person as an innocent, or we should use a term called accused. We cannot assume a person to be a guilty or he is a criminal. Only after the fair hearing with an evidence we can call that person, after the judgment we can call that person as a criminal. But till then we have to presume that he is an innocent until proved guilty. Article 12. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home or correspondence, nor to attack upon his honor and reputation. That means that it is a right to privacy, where you cannot hack a person's mobile or his email or some kind of accounts what he is carrying on in the social media. He has right to privacy as well as right to family. It is that he can have a right to have the right to marriage as well as right to have his own kids. India has a family planning program where it also encourages a person to have 2 kids. Even China has also made a family planning program where it will enforce a person to have a single kid or a 2 kid. But a state cannot intrude upon these rights, that is right to family, right to privacy. Even the phone tapping, without the consent of a person, a government or an organization cannot tap his phone. Article 13. Everyone has the right to freedom of movement and reside within the border of each state. It means that we can travel around the state as well as we can reside in any particular state we wish. Whichever the country we wish, we can move around with the legal documents, as well as with the legal document you can reside in a particular place where you have chosen it. Everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country. It is not that you are born in the same country, you have to die in the same country. But it is your choice to move around. That is what it is called as freedom of movement. Article 14. It tells about the right to asylum, where a person can take a shelter in another country if that country is wishing to give asylum for that particular person. If a person has committed certain crime which is of terrorism, no country will give shelter to such a kind of a person. But a person with a reputed status, the person can seek asylum in any country he wants. Article 15 is right to nationality. Every citizen should have a nationality. Even in this modern era, we have a double citizenship, we have a single citizenship, as well as we can also go and take a citizenship from another country. Everybody should belong to one or the other state. Article 16. Right to marriage and family. Men and women of full age, without any limitation due to race, nationality or religion, have the right to marry and to found a family. In India, there is a legally certain age limit which has been set by the Act, saying that male should be completed 21 years, a female should have been completed 18 years, and they should be a completed person to get married. And they can have their family too, that is kids. During the India's family planning program, the kid limited to 2 as well as 3. If the person is a government employee, to encourage this family planning program, he is entitled to have an additional increment if he is having a kid of number 2. That is 1 increment. If he is having a kid of 1, single kid, single parent or a single kid, he is entitled for 2 increment in his salary. Article 17. Everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. It is a natural right. There are three natural rights, that is right to life, right to liberty and right to property. Government can take a person property when it is illegally made out of some black money or some corruption, or due to a criminal activity he has procured that property. If a person is legally brought a property and government needs those property for a sake of public, for a sake of national interest, it can take that particular land from that individual, and it is the right to remedy of a person, and it is a duty of a state to give the compensation to a person and for his property, that property should be paid in a market value. Article 18, right to freedom of religion. A person can choose whatever the religion he likes, and there is no forcible conversion by the state or an organization or an individual. This is a choice of a person where he can choose any religion he wants. He may choose Hinduism, or he may choose Islam or Christianity or Buddhism or Jainism. It is his choice where he can choose his religion. It is not enforced by the state or an organization or an individual to pressurize a person to follow a certain religion. Article 19, right to freedom of thought and expression. Every person can express his words in an art or in media or today's social media too. And an expression should always be in a non-violent way. If the expression is in a non-violent way, the government can suppress or concise his expression. They can also ban a certain books or an article which has been written in a social media. It is not the complete freedom where he can express totally what he likes. There is a certain limitation when it comes to right to freedom of thought and expression. Article 20, freedom of peaceful assembly and association. Every person has the right to assemble in a particular place to show his protest. But there are certain obligations where a person should inform the police department that he is going to assemble and protest in a particular area. He should seek the permission from the nearby police station. If he is not getting any permission, he cannot assemble, even though it is a peaceful assembly. In an assembly, he cannot carry any kinds of weapon too. They can have a right to association. The association should always safeguard, or it should be pro to the state, it should be pro to the human being. They cannot form an association of a terrorism, or they cannot form an association of a gangsters association. These are the limitations when it comes to the right to association as well as right to peaceful assembly. Article 21. It is a political right. Everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country directly or through freely chosen representative. Article 21 is a political right where it also gives certain rights to the individual, that is right to vote, right to contest election, as well as right to criticize the government. Every person has the right to criticize the government, right to give his opinion about the government, that is the politicians, or it may be of Prime Minister or the President or the CM. He is having a choice where he can give whatever the opinion regarding the ruling government as well as the opposition government. And it is right to vote as well as right to contest election. Article 22. Everyone as a social member of society has the right to social security. What is social security? A person where he feels safe in the community or in a society. A government should have a good law and order where a person feels that he is secured. And in a society where a person is treated with humbleness or where he is treated equally, that means it is called as social security. Or the government should also provide for a person food, shelter, as well as where he can have a measures to form his own property. Article 23. Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable condition of work, and to protection against unemployment. Right to work where he can choose his own profession, but there should be a basic education where he is pursuing his career. When you want to pursue a career as a doctor, you should have an education background of MBBS. By reading an art, you cannot profess or practice as a doctor. It is bound duty of a person where he fulfill the educational criteria and to have a right to profession. But he cannot choose a profession which is an antisocial element, which are threatening the state as well as public, where it is protecting and it is also developing the state. Those kind of professions should be chosen by the people. Everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work. In any kind of job, there should not be a discrimination upon sex, color, caste, creed, race or nationality. During the India's independence movement, you can see that British officers were given higher salary and Indian officers were given lesser salary. Even in India or some other countries, we can see that male workers are given more salary than the female workers. But in a government organization as well as a private organization, they should see that there is an equal pay for equal work. It is a right of every employee to seek that there is an equal pay for equal work. Everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration. It means that living wage. What is living wage? According to the standard of living, every employee should have a salary increased every year. You cannot pay a person's salary which is the salary which was around 2010 for a 2024. Every year the salary should be hiked upon the standard of living. It is the right of an employee as well as the employer's duties to see that there is a hike in his salary. Everyone has the right to form and to join the trade unions for the protection of his interest. In every company, it may be a private company or a public corporation or a government departments, employee can make a trade unions, that is association, for the sake of their interest as well as for the interest of the department, where an employer and employee will lead a good communication, leads to a development of the whole company as well as the corporation. Article 24. Everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours and periodical holidays with pay. Sunday has considered as a holiday for an employee and it is a paid holiday. Even the leisure time, we have a break time for 15 minutes or it may vary for half an hour. As a lunch hour, it is considered as a leisure, as a rest time. Even a tea break is considered as a rest time. It is the right of every employee to see that there is a resting hours with a limited time. Maybe a 15 to 20 minutes is considered as a leisure time. Article 25. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing and medical care and necessary social services. Standard of living means that we have a good education system, we have a good medical system, we have a good infrastructure, that is drinking water facility, we have a better road facility, we have a better communication system, by which we can see that state is also improving and every individual is improving by this kind of facility which has been provided by the government. It is the right of a person to seek that there is a rise of standard of living in his life as well as in the state. Motherhood and childhood are entitled to the special care and assistance, which means that maternity leave, which is entitled for a working woman, where we nurture the mothers by providing 6 months paid leave so that she can nurture her own baby also. In Karnataka, we have a Thai card, that is mother card, where a pregnant lady is taken care and a free delivery is done by the government hospitals. If there is a girl child, she has been given with another project called as Bhagya Lakshmi Yojana, where 2 lakhs insurance has been paid to a girl child. And there is a paternity leave too, where a child needs a love of both mother and father. Father is getting a 15-day leave and mother is getting a 6 months leave so that she can breastfeed her child. Article 26. Everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. In India, we have made right to education as a free and compulsory education for an age of 6 to 14 years. In other countries too, I find that there is a right to free and compulsory education for every children so that they can form their better life for their development. Education shall be directed to the full development of the human personality and to strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. Parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. Today in India, it is a prior obligation of the parent to see that the age of 6 to 14 are in the education. They are not going for any kind of child labor activities. It is a bound duty of a parent and it is a fundamental duty in the Indian Constitution, which has been enshrined or enacted in 2002 as a 11th fundamental duty, and it is a duty of every parent to see that his children are having a better schooling, and they have a choice to make. They can take a central syllabus or they can choose for a state syllabus too. It is a choice of the parent. Article 27. Everyone has the right freely to participate in the cultural life of the community, to enjoy the art and to share in a scientific advancement and its benefit. It's a cultural right. What is a culture? That is a language, tradition and customs. There are certain customs which are against the human nature. There are certain customs or tradition which is beneficial for human beings. Those practices, and there is a protection of our languages. We can't impose a person to speak our own languages. These are the cultural right which gives a person to protect his language, or certain traditions which are good for the state, which are good for every individual. Those traditions can be practiced in a scientific manner. Everyone has the right to the protection of the moral and material interest resulting from any scientific, literary or artistic production of which he is the author. Article 28. Everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the right and freedoms set forth in this declaration can be fully realized. It means that every person should live peacefully and happily. This is the motto of United Nations as well as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But during this 21st century too, as well as 2024, we have a war between Russia and Ukraine and Palestine and Israel too. But those people are not having a social order, they are not having that peaceful living. It is the duty of the state as well as the international organization to see that every human being has a social order, that is living happily and peacefully. Article 29. Everyone has duties to the community in which alone the free and full development of his personality is possible. In the exercise of his rights and freedom, everyone shall be subjected only to such limits as are determined by the law. Earlier, I have just told that we have only positive rights. What is positive rights? Rights which has both rights as well as duty, that is obligation. We have right to speech, but you cannot use a vulgar language. You have right to movement, but you cannot move to some other's property. It is the bound duty that we respect one another, in which we perform community service to others. There are some organizations where they take care of the orphan people, they take care of the refugees, they also take care of the people who are in a natural calamities. It is a bound duty of a person to see that he is going and protecting other individual. It is not the duty of a person to exploit or abuse another person. Article 30. Nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as an implying for any state, group or person any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act aimed at the destruction of any of the rights and freedoms set forth herein. Which means that about 29 rights or about 29 articles, it has given certain rights to every individual. These rights cannot be taken back by the state governments or an organization or any individual. Any individual who is threatening these rights which has been guaranteed by the United Nations or Universal Declaration of Human Rights is set forth to bind upon the legal action. Let us come to a conclusion. Universal Declaration of Human Rights means that it's a compile of all kinds of rights, civil, social, political, economic and cultural also. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is widely regarded as a groundbreaking document that provides a comprehensive and universal set of principles in a secular, a political document that is beyond cultural, religious and political ideologies. The Declaration was the first instrument of international law to use the phrase rule of law, hereby establishing the principle that all members of all society are equally bound by the law regardless of the jurisdiction or political system. This declaration states that every human being is entitled for these rights. If any person who is violating will be prosecuted by the state of law, or he can seek the remedy in the court of law. For further studies, you may refer to Eleanor Roosevelt's book United Nations Today and Tomorrow. And there are certain websites where you can go and study more in detail about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In this session as well as in the first unit, there are certain important questions which may come for 5 marks as well as 10 marks. The 5 marks question: explain the historical background of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Or they may ask, list out some rights in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This one is for 10 marks. Examine the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These are the important questions. Dear students, I think the Unit 1, Human Rights Meaning, Importance and Universal Declaration of Human Rights has been understood by you. Thank you, my dear students.